What is up, guys? We're back. Today's the day. Last video you saw was yesterday, so it's a new day. It's currently Saturday. Today is the dreaded day. I've never dropped the transmission on this car before, so it's definitely gonna be a new experience for me. But we got to get it done. Lots of new parts going in. It is a major part of this build that will be finished once we're done, so it's always nice, you know. I'm not sure what else we're going to be doing today. I don't think we really have all that much to do until some more parts come in, and or I get more money, whichever comes first, you know. But we need to disconnect the slave cylinder, pull it off. We need to pull up this entire shift bracket thing, whatever you want to call it, that goes in the transmission. There's two plugs right there and there. We need to jack up the motor by the oil pan, and then we need to start on the mount and the bell housing bolts, and then it should come right off.
We've already gone ahead and removed all of the things around the transmission, the shifter cables, the harness. We had to remove the ECU, and right now we're just trying to take out some of the studs so that we have clearance as we lower it down. But here, Ben's trying to take out a stud right now.
Trying, I am. See, it's
There
gone.
it goes.
We already took the axles and the half shaft out of the back, and we took out the transmission mount. So there's pretty much only one motor mount holding the motor in over there, and then we have it jacked up underneath with the jack on it and a jack stand with a wood block on the bottom of the oil pan. But now we're going to start taking out all the bolts on the trans and try to lower it down.
Oh, trans is about to come out. That was really quick.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward as long as you got the subframe out.
And if you're missing bolts like I am.
Yeah, makes it super easy.
Here, can you
That's back.
Yeah.
Back top. And then your gate springs are these three. 1, 2, 3. And they got specific torques. This is where things can get a little bit messy. Yeah, it's already separating.
Sweet. It's coming off.
Alright, hang on. Hang on. So be nervous, we don't want to shake the motor too much. Look, it needs to go on the right side of my
Right here?
on this side of my leg if we can get it, because we gotta slide it out. Hang on. Alright, I'm gonna make sure it's got a solid spot on the trans. Alright. It's gotta be up somewhere on this line. Alright,
Ready?
whenever you're ready. Alright, is it good?
Yep.
Centered? Alright.
Yeah.
More? Woo! It's out. Alright,
Lower?
hang on. Pull the jack out tiny bit towards you. Go ahead. More. Watch your fingers. It's gonna go towards the motor. Keep going. Keep going. Pull it out. Alright, stop.
Alright, it's on the jack. Sweet. Well, there she is.
Crazy.
Well, that looks crusty, dusty deluxe. Volume 3, huh?
Yummy.
It's disgusting. Oh, there's the motor. Yeah, this throwout bearing is on its way out, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, that's gross.
That sounds horrible.
It does, dude. But it never made noise in the car though. Oh, about to torque it. To Ugga Duggas.
You're good.
80 Ugga Duggas.
As long
Well, well, well. Make a quick stop. Where's it at? Right there. So we had to pick up a slide hammer. We already have the tool to get the pilot bearing out. We almost forgot to even pull the old bearing out, but thankfully we didn't. All right, so we're heading to go get food now. Or we're headed to go eat food now, and we'll get back to it.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, we're back. Well, we went ahead and used a slide hammer. We got the pilot bushing, right? Where'd you put it? That's right there. Little pilot bushing. It popped out with barely any force. So, yeah, this thing's definitely seen better days. It was definitely time to get replaced. But yeah, good thing we have a new OEM one going in. But yeah, that was way too easy to come out. It just kind of flew out. Like, I didn't even, like, hit it hard or anything. It just, tink, like, just popped right on out, so. Yep. Anyways, we got the clutch opened up. And the new OEM one is right here. All right, next step, clutch and pressure plate, which is right there. I didn't get new bolts for that. We're just gonna reuse the OEM ones. The only thing I was really worried about was the flywheel bolts, so I replaced those, but maybe you're supposed to replace them, maybe you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Yeah, Dean says you don't have to. I've heard other people say you do, but I don't. It'll be fine. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so we got them here. The other ways it didn't line up, but this is the only way it does. All right, they're good. All right, guys, here it is. Clutch Masters FX 400. Absolutely gorgeous. Looks good. New flywheel in there's looking good too. Well resurfaced. But yeah, next we're going to start on the transmission. Pressure plate, clutch, flywheel, all that stuff's all torqued down, Loctite. Went from 10 foot-pounds to 14 foot-pounds and then up to 19 foot-pounds on the pressure plate. So it's all good in the neighborhood. And now we are ready to start working on the trans and getting it cleaned up. As you can hear, my throwout bearing is bad, which is odd because it never made any noises in the car. So
It's not necessarily bad, but it needs to be replaced. And that causes you'd have to rebuild a transmission.
ooh, that is disgusting. Yeah, it's probably never been replaced before. So all right, we're gonna clean this up, brake clean everything, and we have new urea grease for shaft and for this little ball pivot point.
Urethra grease.
Urethra grease. Is that really what I said?
No.
Urea grease. Yeah, urethra grease. Whatever. Don't get brake cleaner on me. Gauge shifter springs time. Just cleaned it a little bit. Still AIDSy, but better than it was before. Here they are. So we're gonna be installing these Dean's got them in his car already and they feel pretty good, so decided to go with the same ones. And there's 3 bolts right here, this one, and this one, and these 3 have the D10 springs in them. So we already replaced the ones in here with hybrid racing like way back when, so go ahead and change these out, and then pretty much everything will have been changed in this car. It's like the last thing that's stock for the shifting mechanism, so. Oh my God, who torqued these? Probably you, huh?
Shut up. Hang on.
Make sure it's on there straight. There we go. Okay.
One at a time.
I'll go ahead and pop these suckers out. Let's start with this one.
I don't think there are any real videos of this online, but yeah, you know, if you're changing your gate springs, you just pop these out. Be very careful how much you torque them.
Unlike the last person that did this.
Well, I don't think they've ever been taken off.
Probably not. I bet you these are stock springs in here.
Leave it in there.
Okay, yeah, these are stock
Swap
for
them.
sure.
Go ahead and put that bolt back in.
Yes, Danny.
All right. And then I'll have to look at the torque specs on these guys.
Okay, these are torqued down. The factory torque. Sorry, hybrid racing says torque these 3 bolts down to 16 foot-pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 16 foot-pounds. So we just did that. Hopefully they hold, because when we took them off, these were definitely way tighter than 16 foot-pounds. They're probably closer to 60, but nothing broke, so we're good there. We're probably going to go ahead and throw in the throwout bearing and the shifter rod and the boot and all that stuff. And then once we finish that, we need to make a run to O'Reilly's again so we can return that tool, and also so we can buy some more brake cleaner. I don't want to throw this thing back in there looking like that, and it's way easier to clean it out of the car. So like we need to get all this like grime and build up. It's already a little bit cleaner than it was, but like especially in like these small, hard to reach areas, like I want to clean this thing up. Like I don't want it to look like ass in the car. So I've never done this stuff before. Dean has, so that's kind of why he's taking control. I'm gonna learn from him. But we're greasing up this little sleeve thing. From what I've seen online is you don't want to put too much, if any, grease on the actual spindle itself. And if you do, just like a little bit like in the threads, but that's it. Maybe do we need to grease
If you overdo greasing on the spindle itself, you risk grease getting into
the clutch
itself, and then you'll have major issues and have to drop your trans again. You may want to make sure you grease well where the throw bearing is going, and then on this I don't know what they call this, but the place where the actual shifter fork rests,
yeah, the little ball,
and rotates off of, you need to make sure you put a good amount of grease on that. And then I'll show you guys here. You're also gonna want, you want to make sure you put grease inside this little pocket where it rests on that.
For sure.
And you also want to put grease on the end of the fork where the throwout bearing rests. And I think that's it.
What about down here?
Yeah, you're going to want to grease down in the slave. We can go ahead and do that too. But if not, you could always do it when the trans is in the car. But yeah, don't be afraid to do a little bit of, you know, overdoing it on the grease on this, but just make sure that the spindle doesn't have too much grease. You can put a little bit on it. That's not an issue, but don't overdo it. And then on the end here, just go ahead and put a thin layer of it as well, because that's where it's going to be sliding into your pilot bushing. But yeah, that's all you got to do. And then whenever I put all this back together, I'll show you guys how to do it. Oh, as well, where is the
spring? Right there.
Throwout bearing?
Oh, right there.
Yeah. My bad.
You're fine. These are already dirty anyways.
All right, so you want to make sure on the throwout bearing, you also put some grease down here where the shifter fork's gonna go. And then you want to do a thin layer inside of it as well. That way you're not missing any places. Everything is well lubed. You're not gonna have any squealing or weird noises coming from it.
Which I definitely did, and I know now it's because the old throwout bearing had no grease on it, and it was crusty, and it sounded like a bad wheel bearing when it would spin. So this will definitely fix that. One of the biggest things I hated about this car. So
yeah, it's not fun having a noisy throwout bearing. It makes you think other stuff is wrong, and then still you gotta fix it and swap out all these parts, which is annoying. So make sure you grease it, do it right the first time. All right, so now
you need to get the spring back in.
This guy's in, yeah. We gotta make sure we get the spring. And it's a little bit of a process to get everything in, but we'll get it done here. Yeah, so kind of have to do it all at once because it all kind of fits together. So I'm gonna put this in here. Slide the fork into the throwout bearing and go ahead and slide everything on. And once you get your fork in place, you want to get this spring and make sure it's around the...
There's little tabs in there you got to kind of
Yeah.
get the end of the spring into. Just like so.
I think everything is in there good.
Sweet. And now there's only one piece left to the puzzle. This boot.
Yeah, and when you get everything in, make sure it moves freely. Make sure you're actually moving your throwout bearing back and forth when you move it. Yeah, the boot, you could even do it within the car. I think we're gonna clean this, so I don't wanna, well, I'll go ahead and put it on, but basically you just slip it over the fork. Try not to tear it, because Honda overcharges for a piece of rubber. There, and this is a very important part. I had to drop my whole transmission and change out my throwout bearing because I had a small coolant leak or dripping on my car, and it dripped right onto the shifter fork and went into the trans and caused the throwout bearing to go out. I guess the coolant went in there and basically got rid of all the grease.
Ate up the grease, yeah.
So it's important to have that boot on there. It probably would have been avoided if I had a boot that actually wasn't torn, because mine was torn at the time. But little things matter like that, so just make sure you do it right.
Sweet. And we still have plenty of urethra grease left over to do the next clutch job that we end up having to do in this garage, and I'm sure it's inevitable at some point we will. But yeah, this stuff is Honda OEM stuff. I think I got it on eBay. It was like $9 maybe, so good stuff. I always try to, even with a turbo build like this where nothing is OEM like at all, like for little things like boots and like arms and like throwout bearing and pilot bushing, like I really try to get OEM everything. It's definitely the best stuff. But yeah, so this trans is pretty much ready to go back in the car now, but we need to run to O'Reilly's to get the tool back and also to buy more brake cleaner. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right quick and we'll be back.
Yep, see you soon.
See you guys in a minute. Welcome back. Well, I guess I should be saying that for us, but 2 bottles of brake clean and some engine degreaser from O'Reilly's. We also returned that tool that we didn't need. So yeah, we're gonna get to scrubbing and make this thing look somewhat decent again. So alright guys, well we did our best with the trans. It's not perfect, but it looks a lot better than it did in my opinion. There's a lot of loose dirt and grime and stuff that was sitting in like random places and little bits of RTD and all sorts of stuff. So I think it looks pretty good. We're getting ready to go ahead and throw it back in the car so we can take care of the other stuff we got to do and then probably call it a night. It's getting dark. It's only about 7 I think, so it's not too late. But yeah, it's definitely an all-day thing. Like if you're planning on doing a clutch, like I would definitely reserve all day. And we have 2 people here too. Still an all-day thing. Although to be fair, we're not really rushing or anything. We're kind of chilling while we do it. So
reserve a weekend if you think about doing it yourself.
Yeah, well, yeah, reserve a weekend, but expect it to take a full day. But it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Real quick before we threw the trans in, we went ahead and heat wrapped the shifter cables just a little bit. Oh, before we put the trans near there, we need to brake clean the base of the cable bracket so it looks as good as our trans. So we're gonna do that real quick. I'm just gonna cut the zip tie holding it up and spray it down with some brake cleaner. And pull them back up through here, and tuck them right there. Should be good there. And all right, we'll commence throwing the transmission back in. Okay, trans is stabbed and back in. We have these top two bell housing bolts in. So right now we're gonna try to go ahead and try to get that starter bolt in. That's not gonna work, dude. It's going in. And just like that, the transmission's back in. Look at that fresh boot. It's awesome. Anyways, all these are all tightened. We just gotta line up these two holes, and that's probably gonna take the longest, so we gotta get her done. But yeah, it's good that it's almost back in the car. I can already tell how much better it looks too. Oh yeah, wait, no, it needs to go a little back. Trust me.
What's making noise? Hang on.
There you go. See. Sweet. That didn't take very much time at all. Woo, look at that. Motor's holding itself up. Awesome. Super stoked about that. All right, guys, our fault, but we kind of didn't pick up the camera to film much, but we had to take this piece off, or I'm sorry, reinstall this piece, but before we could do that, we had to put this whole bracket assembly back in, so took care of all that. Sorry, GoPro battery died. We destroyed these cotter pins, unfortunately, getting this stuff kind of pushed back together and all that, so Jesus, why is that stuck on there? All right. So that's unfortunate. We also heat wrapped a little bit more to shift our cables. We'll probably do a little bit more just to go ahead and cover these up since this turbo is going to be like right here. So I'm going to heat wrap just a little bit more. ECU's back on, all the brackets and everything. We reinstalled the slave. Line goes here, fresh grease down in there like you can tell. Yeah, everything's coming together pretty nicely. I'm going to go ahead and plug all these things back in here, because why not? There's the NOx sensor plugged back in. And I think that's all we really unplugged. While I was doing all that stuff, Dean took care of the half shaft and the axles, all of which are back in and tightened. We also put a new oil filter on, since no reason to keep the old one on there anymore. But yeah, half shaft shield, all that stuff, new filter. There's still some stuff I want to clean, like right in here, just to make it easier to pinpoint any oil leaks we might have once we get the car all back together. We also still have to install a new crank pulley, which is sitting over there, but I haven't really had a chance to do it yet, but it's getting late. Transmission's back in. I have some more stuff to order. We're missing a bell housing bolt somewhere down in here. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, we're missing this bell housing bolt. So with how much power we're looking to get, I definitely want to get a new one of those. And I think that was just probably a previous owner or a shop mechanic forgot to put it back in. And we're also missing the middle motor mount bolt back in here, but I'm not sure if I'm even going to bother with that. It's not really that big of a deal. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe. If you got any questions, hit us up, we'll answer them. Yep. We're mostly making this because there really are no good YouTube videos about turboing an 8th gen like this, especially not mine, because I have a K24 block and a K20 head. It's nothing for me. There's very few people that have actually done this, so if any, really. I'm sure it's been done, but no one's definitely made a video about it, so it'll be interesting to see how everything goes. We've pretty much worked out solutions for all the potential fitment problems we might have. It's definitely gonna be tight back here for sure. And that's every 8th gen though. For us, it's just a little bit worse because of the higher deck height of the 24. So yeah, anyways, I'll stop rambling. See you guys next video. Not sure what's going down next video, but we'll come up with something. So
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, all 13 of you.